Pastor Sheila Banda, all the way from UK. And tonight I've got some amazing guests with me. I've got Sister Wunmi from the UK as well. And I've also got Sister Emma all the way from Denmark. You know, so it's really exciting, really interesting that we can actually from different corners of the globe, we can come together. You know, I'm always thankful to God for the technology that we have nowadays, because at a click of a button, we can actually encourage so many people. We can reach out to our brothers and sisters all over the world without us having to travel. Yeah, so just briefly about myself, I've already mentioned my name, Pastor Sheila Banda, and I'm a mother of 5. I'm a wife, you know, and I'm a heart nurse, you know, by profession, and I'm a minister of the gospel, you know, of God. And I just love human beings, and that's why I'm here all the time sharing, you know, my vision and sharing my experiences, sharing, you know, all the good things that God has been able to bring my way. Because remember, I always say that caring is sharing. Yeah. So at the same time, I'm also a business entrepreneur, an international online business entrepreneur, and I promote global health, you know, inspiring everybody around the world to actually engage in healthy lifestyle, you know, because our health is so important. Everything else in life borders or surrounds our health. If we are in good health, then we can do anything that we want to do, you know, because when you are not healthy, I tell you what, if you have been in that place where your health is at stake, you understand what I'm saying. Everything comes to a standstill. So without much ado, I'm going to bring on my guests just to introduce themselves briefly, and then we'll get into our topic. It's a very, very exciting topic tonight because, you know, I can't forget in my introduction to mention that financial health, you know, and physical health, they actually go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. When you have physical health, then you can actually work and have financial health. But when you have financial health and you do not have physical health, then you cannot enjoy life. So many times when we talk about health, we actually concentrate more on physical health. We forget about mental health. We forget about social health. We forget about psychological, emotional, you know, health. We forget about our financial health as well, which is very, very important. So tonight we'll actually be focusing on powering our vision as far as financial health is concerned. So let me just highlight, bring my guests on the screen. And I'll start with Sister Wunmi. Yeah, Sister Wunmi, here you are. I can see you there looking lovely, looking beautiful. Wow, amazing, amazing. I just want to say thank you so much for accepting to come onto my platform, you know, for accepting to come and just share things concerning financial health with, you know, our brothers and sisters out there in the whole world. And before we start, I'm sure they would like to know who is this person who is coming to speak to them. Would you just tell, you know, our audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening. How's everybody doing? It's been a while. I've not done this in a long while. Thank you so much, Pastor Sheila, for bringing me on for the honor. Thank you so much. So for people watching us at home, I'm Wunmi Guse, and I am a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a nurse, and I'm a business entrepreneur. So like Pastor Sheila said, we encourage people, we support people to live healthy, because like she said, health is wealth. Without your health, wealth means nothing. So you need to, you know, support your own health. That's what we help people with, so that you can enjoy the wealth that God has given you. The wealth that you have worked for. If you are in good health, you have, you know, you'll be able to enjoy it better. I don't even think there is any enjoyment when you are not in good health. You won't enjoy your wealth. So that's why the saying that health is wealth. So we support you with that.
Fantastic, fantastic introduction, Sister Wunmi. You know, that's really, really amazing. And I'm sure tonight a lot of people are going to be inspired, you know, by what we are going to discuss concerning financial health. You know, because sometimes, especially in our circles, people feel uncomfortable discussing financial health. But you cannot delink, like we have said in our introduction, you cannot delink financial health or economic health from physical health, mental health, and everything else, because they all link together. It is like a circle. When one of the aspects of the health is actually missing, you know, then you find that there's a break. And you have to find a way of bridging that gap. And tonight we'll be sharing information concerning how we can actually bridge that gap in our financial health. Amazing, amazing. Let me now bring on my other lovely speaker all the way from Denmark, Sister Emma, you know, so that she can also just introduce herself. You know, there you are, Sister Emma. I can see your beautiful face. I like your beautiful African attire. I'm tempted
Thank
next
you.
time to actually wear my African attire. Yeah.
Thank you. So, good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are watching us from. As you've heard, my name is Emma. I'm based in Denmark. I'm a wife and I'm a mother. And I work at the hospital as an assistant, and I'm an entrepreneur. I promote healthy living around the world. And that's my passion. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. I mean, caring is sharing. I always repeat that. You know, whatever you have, if you're not sharing, it means you are actually missing out a lot. Because life only makes sense when it is shared, and every blessing that we have is to be shared. I'm really excited to have you, Sister Emma. And I just want to encourage our audience, please share this video. Share, 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 share. Because, you know, when you share, then you are caring. You just never know who this video is going to impact tonight. Like it and share it. Comment. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Inbox us. You know, you can go to Sister Wunmi, Sister Emma, myself, or wherever you're watching us from, and just, you know, ask your questions or whatever clarification you want concerning what we are discussing tonight. So we'll get started. So we are talking about powering our vision, you know, and we are talking about health is first. We are talking about financial health. So to start with, you know, Sister Emma, when we talk about financial health, what comes to your mind? I'll start with you, Sister Emma. What comes to your
Yeah.
mind?
What
I know
comes
it's
to my
quite, that is
mind?
quite a wide, yeah.
Yeah, it is a vast, it is a very large area to tackle, but I'll
Yeah,
make it simple. When we talk about financial wealth or health, we talk
or
about,
health, financial
yeah,
health.
we talk about how to make ends meet, because once you are lacking in your finances, it gives a lot of stress, and a lot of stress is a killer. So if you are lacking somewhere, and that's a lot of human beings today, that's where we are lacking. You know, when we are lacking financially, our mental health also will be affected, because it's something that you have to think about.
Exactly.
When is the next money coming from? How am I going to clear my debts? How am I going to feed my family? There are a lot of things involved. So your mental health will also be damaged because of having lack of finances. So that's how I would describe it. It's something that can help our health. You know, it works hand in hand. Financial health and health, nutrition health, they work hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, that is a very good description of financial health, Sister Emma. Because indeed, like you have rightly said, when you're not having to make ends meet, then you cannot describe yourself as having financial health. Because having financial health means that you are meeting your living expenses at home, you know, and you are able also to actually do a lot of other things, which we are going to describe as we go on in our discussion. You know, the things that encompasses financial health. Or financial wealth or financial health, you know, we are going to discuss further. But in short, it just means to say you are healthy financially. And being healthy financially, it means having more than enough, not just barely managing, not just barely putting food on your table, hand to mouth. It means you are actually having more than enough. You've got more than enough even for a rainy day. You know, and I do not want to preempt the discussion so quickly. I'll go to Sister Wunmi also just to make a little comment, what you think, you know, concerning financial health.
Thank you so much, sis. For if I want to describe what is meant by financial health, I would say is that state that you find yourself when you are not, you have everything that makes you comfortable. It doesn't really matter that you're a millionaire. No, you may not be a millionaire and have a very good financial health. When you are able to take care of your responsibilities, when you are able to be a blessing to other people, trust me, financially now, there are some times that we want to help, but our hands are tied. We are not able to because we are not financially healthy. When you have that financial health, when you have it in mind that you want to help, you will not think twice before you go further as long as you have got that. As long as you have got that leading from God, you will go ahead and do it. Execute that which you want to execute because you have what it takes. You have the means. So it may not really be that you are a millionaire. You are, no, but you are able to look after yourself, your family, and people around you, and be a blessing to people around. We may be a blessing to people around in so many ways, but we are talking about finances here. Sometimes it's not enough to pray. You know, we can pray for people, it's still a blessing to them. But sometimes people need more than prayer. They need you to put your hands in your pocket, bring something out to help them. You know, so when you are able to do that and you're able to take care of your responsibility, you are financially healthy. That's the way I feel.
Fantastic, Sister Wunmi. I mean, I love your description as well. You know, because sometimes we feel like you have to be a millionaire for you to have financial health. You know, you just have to have enough. You know, enough not only for yourself, but enough also to bless your neighbor, enough to be able to meet those family obligations, enough to be a blessing in your generation. You know, enough to be a blessing in your community, to have that impact, that financial impact, to give answers to people's problems, you know, and we all can be empowered in that manner. And I just want to mention, I like what you mentioned, Sister Wunmi, to say that sometimes we want to feel like when people have got problems, we can just pray for them. But alas, it requires more than prayer, you know. Prayer alone without action is nothing, and it cannot actually do anything, and it doesn't please God. We have to act. But for us to act, we have to be empowered. And that's why we are here tonight to talk about this financial health and how we can help one another to be financially healthy. Because there are so many opportunities out there that can help us have our financial health, but sometimes we miss out because our eyes are closed and we feel like our hands are tied, and sometimes because of our mindset. Because we have grown up in a generation, most of us, where we believe you go to school, you start work, you know, and that's it, and you just depend on your salary. And in our community today, maybe only about 10% of the people are able to actually manage on just a regular job income alone to meet all their living expenses, you know, or pay all their bills, you have food on the table, you know, maybe have some investments, have some savings and things like that. For many people, it is just hand to mouth. You know, the money comes in and within a few days, the money is completely gone out to a lot of other payments and they remain with actually nothing. They cannot plan for the future, they cannot invest, they cannot save for their children's education or save for their pension or anything like that. You know, and that is why tonight we are here to actually share wisdom, because with wisdom we are able to build a lot. And when God gets ready to bless somebody or to uplift somebody, he always sends someone else. You know, so don't take what we are saying tonight lightly. And financial health starts with having a vision. And that is why you saw on our the title of our discussion tonight was put Power Your Vision. It's because it starts with a vision. And then when that vision is best, obviously it has to be accompanied by action. You have to have a plan in place. How am I going to actually achieve this, financial vision? And the vision is a picture of what you want to see, you know, is a picture of what you want to see in the future. starting from today and tomorrow and thereafter. So when you are talking of financial health, having a vision for that, it means you are having a vision of how you want your finances to be tomorrow and today and in the future. How do you want your finances to look like? How do you want your life to look like? Where do you want to live? Where do you want your children the education to be? How do you want your life to be when you retire and things like that? So without preempting, I'll go back to my speakers. So making your financial vision and your plan into action is what helps actually to realize your dream of having that financial health. But dreaming doesn't do anything unless you dream and put it down and then actually follow it up. So, Sister Wunmi, I'll come back to you now. So when we are looking at your financial vision, when we make a vision board for our financial health, what things comes in mind that you think we would actually look at, in our financial, what do you actually, maybe I'll give you an example of an emergency, having an emergency fund, because sometimes, like we said, we are just working hand to mouth. We don't even think about things like, the emergencies might come and I'll need our finances. Why do you think it's very important for people to have an emergency fund?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Yeah, it is very important to have emergency to be financially healthy, and part of it is when you have that emergency fund. And emergency fund is something that is what you have that you can say is saving, but not, because sometimes you save, but you can still go to saving to take it from time to time. But when it comes to financial, emergency fund, it is that money you put apart. You put it apart for example, some units is out there. It's out there wrecking its havoc. You know what? It's not going to affect us in Jesus' name because God is in it. But do you know what? It's going to affect some people adversely, whether we like it or not. And nobody at the beginning of the year will put money aside to say, okay, team, some units is coming. When it comes, when something happened in my house, when something happened around me in my garden and all that, this is the money I put aside for. We don't have such plan, because this is an unforeseen circumstances, and that is it. So emergency fund is for unforeseen circumstances. Sometimes it's not all bad. When we talk about unforeseen circumstances that you need that emergency fund for, it is not all negative. Sometimes it could be positive. Sometimes it could be positive. So it's not all bad. It's not all negative. So those things that you did not plan for that will just come. For example, like the storm unit that is out there, so many people, from what I've seen, the images I've seen today, a lot of people are going to incur a lot of expenses as a result of this. And these are things that nobody planned for. So emergency fund is for things like that. Okay, this has happened. It has to be fixed. How do you fix it? From your salary? It's not even the salary. You have what you have what it goes for already. So your emergency fund will enable you to be able to put things in place on time. Without having to seek for help elsewhere. You are capable of taking care of those things that come up as a result of natural, like this. This one is natural. Nobody can stop it and nobody planned for it. So that is what emergency fund is. And it could be as a result of things do happen. Probably you need to travel back home. Sometimes we don't plan it. God forbid. And it's not, like I say, it's not all negative. It could be for positive thing, but something you did not plan, and it's not in your plan, in your salary for that month to travel. But because something positive has happened, I'm not going to say negative, something positive has happened back home, you need to travel down. Your emergency fund will be there for you to take a little bit from and do the necessary at that particular time. So emergency fund is the fund you put apart that you can run to. It's different from savings. Like I said, savings, you can always go to your savings, take it out. But emergency fund is something that money you put apart for unforeseen circumstances, which could be negative, which could be positive. We are not praying for negative, but it could be both ways. That's the emergency fund.
Thank you so much, Sister Wunmi. And we are talking about these, these aspects of financial health because they are real and they do happen. And when we are talking about financial health, what we want you to have in mind is the importance of being
so much,
in that place. Thank you so much, Sister Wunmi. In that place where you can have all these things in place. And a 9-to-5 job, very few people manage to have an emergency fund. Actually, those are experts who actually study finances. And when they talk of having financial, emergency funds, they say you need to have at least maybe 4 months to 6 months of your wage. For example, if you are making £2,000 per month from your wage, in your emergency fund, maybe you need to have that 2,000 times 4 months or times 6 months. That is taking you maybe to 8,000 or taking you to 12,000 if it's 6 months. That is an emergency fund, not just maybe something that will help you for 1 month. Because a lot of things happen, like what happened in the pandemic. Some people had to be furloughed, which means they were not getting their full pay. Some people's businesses had to literally close, and in those instances, they needed money to sustain them through those months until their business came back to its feet again. And that is what we mean by emergency fund. And a lot of things that Sister Wunmi has explained happen, and maybe you could be thinking, oh, I have insurance. It's not everything that you can insure in your life, really. And even with insurance, if it's claiming for even like, if you've got, your items in your home are insured for, it's very difficult to claim because you can only claim when maybe it's a manufacturer's fault, a manufacturing fault on an item, not just wear and tear, or maybe suddenly your TV just sparks up, or suddenly your fridge just sparks up, and those are small things. There are bigger things that happen. And you need to have this emergency fund. Sometimes maybe an illness can strike, or sometimes, you can have a wedding in the family. Like Sister Wunmi is saying, good things happen, even in our families that need that emergency fund. And I know you can plan separately, maybe for holidays and things like that. But you can't even begin to speak about saving for holidays when you're having hand to mouth. And that is the point that we are trying to make here, to say we all need to be in that place where we are financially healthy, which means we are having more than enough, not just merely meeting our living expenses at home, but we are having more than enough to do all these things, have emergency funds on the side so that in case of unforeseen circumstances, we've got somewhere, where we can tap from. We have got somewhere, we have that confidence to say we are not going to be left out in the cold. We have somewhere where we can actually tap some finances from. Yeah. Now, talking about, another type of fund that, we need to have in our household, like life insurance, Sister Emma.
Yeah.
A lot of people in our community, sometimes they don't bother even about things like life insurance. So sometimes they want to, but because, like I said, maybe their wages are so meager, they're just putting it towards those things that will sustain them just on a daily basis. They're not looking at the future. What would you say concerning the importance of, having a life insurance? Even before we talk about all these other insurances that we have, like car insurance, home insurance, people sometimes insure their mobile phones and things like that. But when it comes to like life insurance, is it very, very important for us to actually make finances aside to make sure that we have that life insurance in place?
Yes, it is. It is actually just like the emergency fund where you have to put money on the side, reserve money for the emergencies. It's the same with life insurance, because we don't know how our life, nobody knows how our life turns out to be. Sometimes if we are lucky, like I don't know how it is in UK. Here in Denmark, we have free hospitals, we have free healthcare, but when it comes to other things where you need to go to a private doctor, for example, where you have to have money to pay for your medicals, then you need money from your life insurance. There's certain things that you cannot wait for the government hospital to come and call you, so you need to cater for yourself. So life insurance money is very, very important. It can save your life. It can be life insurance money for everybody in the family, actually. because we don't know what happens tomorrow. Nobody knows what tomorrow holds. So it's nice to have, it's smart to have life insurance money. Yeah, I would say. And from 9 to 5 job, you cannot make it. We need something. We need a side hustle to have such, just like emergency funds. You cannot just live from your month to month pay. You can't. You cannot save your life insurance. So you have to think out of the box and see where does that money come from. That's what we're here today. Where does that money come from? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sister Emma. Yeah, and that's the reason why we're mentioning all these things, so that, if you're out there and maybe you're not pursuing some of these important financial health aspects of life, you can think twice about it. And there are opportunities out there. I'm sure you follow us. If you are here on this platform, I'm sure you've been following us. And many times we come on and we share, our opportunities that have helped us financially, that have helped us in our health. And that is why we are here to inspire you as well. We were in a place at some point where we couldn't manage to do all these things that we are talking about. We couldn't manage to have the financial health that we are talking about because we were just having that mindset that I have to go to work and come back and that's it. Little did we know that we needed to actually have various streams of income coming into our households so that we are not just merely managing to meet our living expenses, but we are also able to do extra other things like emergency fund and insurance as well. Sister Wunmi, anything you want to add on?
Yes, life insurance is so important. It's as a matter of fact, sometimes it's imposed on you, especially in the UK. If you have a mortgage, of course, you must have a life insurance. So it's not, to some people, it's not a matter of choice. It's a matter of you have to do it. You can't have mortgage in the UK. I don't know if without having a life insurance. You have to insure the house and you have to insure your life. Just in case if anything happens, the fund will be used to pay up your mortgage, to pay off your mortgage. So it is a must for some people. But for some other people that probably they are not on the ladder yet, life insurance, there's some cracking. Life insurance is so important. So in the community where we're coming from, we think, oh, life insurance, no, I'm not ready to die now. I'm not dying now, so I don't need it. But it's not about you dying now, it's about whenever, no matter how long God has given you to live, after that, life insurance will be there for your family to just like you are leaving something behind for them. It is very, very important. Life insurance doesn't mean you are dying now. It just means that you are planning for future, both where you are here and where you are gone. So it's very, very important. And like my sister said, Sister Emma said, sometimes some of these things we're talking about, emergency fund, life insurance, sometimes with our day-to-day job, with our 9-to-5 job, we may not really get the quality. Mind you, you can do life insurance with any amount, but if you really want to get the good ones, it takes a bit of money. Same thing with emergency funds. You can say you are putting emergency funds. You can put £30 away every month and call it emergency fund. But if you really want a quality emergency fund, a quality life assurance, then you need something to help you on the side, because day-to-day job sometimes may not be enough for you to get the best out there.
Thank you so much, Sister Wunmi. That is very, very important. I like how you mentioned to say some people feel like if they have life insurance, then it's like they are actually predicting their death or something like that. It's not like that. Actually, there are different types of insurance as well. Some of them, when you have critical illness, they'll actually use that money to pay off, your mortgage or other payments that you have. Sometimes when it matures, some life insurance, they've got a maturity date. When it matures, they'll give you a lump sum, which you can use to do a lot of things, to invest and to look after your time when you retire, because people retire on very little money most of the time. So life insurance is very important, for that time when you're not here, for your family, as well as when you are here. It can also help in case you are diagnosed with a critical illness. a life-threatening illness, life insurance does fall in very, very handy. But you find that many times when we have problems, sometimes we have to depend on contributions, which are sometimes not even forthcoming. So these are some of the important things that we need to think about. That we need to think about. Sometimes like in my profession, there are people who work for themselves. Maybe they just work for themselves. So what happens, like maybe something happens and you can't work. You can't do that agency job. That pays you so much. What happens if you don't have that type of insurance, which can actually be paid out when you have that critical illness or something like that, happens. So these are very, very important things to talk about. And, that is why you see us coming on every time talking about having a side hustle, having some passive income, having money working for you. And mentioning money working for you, that brings us now even to, how you can actually have what they call a working capital or cash on hand. It can be called a working capital if you are maybe in business, but if you are not in business, it is also that sort of like money that remains when you've actually put aside all the money for your living expenses. Now that money that remains in your hands that you can use for other things. Earlier on, my guests spoke about having emergency fund, and having to save, maybe even for future investments, having to save maybe to pay your mortgage early, having to save, maybe to have that deposit for your children's first property, having to save for your children's education, a lot of things, that you can actually do. So what can you actually say, Sister Emma, about having cash on hand or this working capital where you have money actually beginning to work for you? Because when you have that extra money remaining in your household, after you've actually met all the expenses in the home, then you can actually think of, maybe saving for an investment, and things like that. What would you say, Sister Emma, concerning that?
Yeah, I would say it helps a lot to have cash at hand, to budget, to have things like that. Those what we call a short-term, short-term, the money that you can make fast and save, to empower your long-term vision you have, as we are talking about empowering our vision today. So we're talking about that to be the cash that will give you a goal start. It's like a milestone, to where you are going. So having that cash will help you plan for what you are planning with, what you can see, your vision in future. So it's very nice to plan for this small money, no matter how small they're coming in. If you have a very good plan and you are thinking of how you're going to do it, and you have a vision of how your future is going to be like, or where you want to be in future, this money is very good to plan an investment in future. So we all need this short term to make for our long term financial health.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sister Emma. That is very, very, very important. And it is very, very difficult with most of the jobs that we have to actually have cash at hand or cash on hand, or even that's a working capital where you can actually have extra after you've used your pay at home, to meet the family needs, that you can have actually extra that you can actually put into something that can actually begin to work for you. And that is where, it brings me to a place where I can mention again concerning the opportunity that I've been sharing. Yesterday, I was excited. I shared about, our business being open in the Czech Republic. And I was saying we are now in 28 countries. And this is an opportunity where if you have even just that working cash, £50 in the UK, in Denmark, Sister Emma will mention how much it is. That £50 in the UK. Yes, it can help you actually begin something that you can do in your own time, just doing it online, helping other people, inspiring other people. And it in the long run, it will begin to give you actually passive income, which means money will begin to work for you. Money will begin to work for you, and it will now give you that ability to have this emergency fund we are talking about, to have insurance, different types of insurance, life insurance and other insurance in the home, so that on that unforeseen day when something happens, you are well equipped. So it's very, very, very important. And Tonight, we are just talking about the importance of this financial health. But if you're out there, you're listening to us, we are here actually giving you an opportunity, to say that you can also begin to actually have this financial health, which is very, very important. Sister Wunmi, we live in a world where it's very, very easy to use debt. We have credit cards at hand.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have discipline, especially in the country where I am, and maybe generally in the Western world, if you don't have discipline, you can get yourself into big, big trouble.
Yeah.
Because they'll give you this credit card, which you can go, even if you don't have any money in your personal account, you can go and use, beg your pardon, you can go and use this credit card, and buy whatever you want to buy, depending on the limit that is on your card. You can use thousands or you can use hundreds. And if you are not disciplined, in the end, you can find that, because whatever you use, they put interest if you don't pay at the end of the month. They start putting interest. They'll tell you, okay, you can pay a minimum of £5. Meanwhile, you've got maybe 200 on it. Next month, if you only pay that £5, that 200 will go up further. And before you know it, you'll be owing thousands. So, Sister Wunmi, what can you say concerning what we are discussing now, having the the financial health that we are talking about? What can you say concerning debt?
Okay, yeah. If we have financial health, that will help us to offset some of those debts. And like you mentioned, credit cards. Sometimes it's not a matter of choice too. That's another thing that is not a matter of choice. Here in the UK where I am, I remember when I just came.
When you have it, it's a plus.
Yeah, I remember when I just came and I was like, I'm not credit card. I don't want. But do you know what? If you want to go for anything whatsoever, what you don't want to get mortgage, they will check your credit rating.
Credit record.
If you don't have, if you have not taken your credit card, and for them to see how you are able to pay back, that could work against you. So some of us actually got into it by fire by force. They forced us to take it. So we had to take it. And like Pastor Sheila said, if you are not disciplined, there is that tendency of, I want to do this, I don't have the cash in hand, the one we discussed before, and the credit card is there. What stops me from using it? For some, if you are disciplined, all you need to do is to put it back. But sometimes, if there is not enough, if the finance is not healthy, there is every possibility of you continue to use, and you just pay back the barest minimum, and you continue to use it like that, and before you know what is happening, you put yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
Because the salary, you can't really say, okay, let me take a whole lump sum from this salary that I'm earning to put into this credit card, because the salary is not even enough in the first place. Reason why, when you have a side hustle, then whatever that is coming from it, I've seen people before that, okay, I will cite example of my upline. She said when she started having a side hustle, she was owing a credit card of 7,500. She paid from her salary, but she was able to pay that debt back from her side hustle. So the salary is not enough. She couldn't afford to take the money from her salary, but she was able to offset the debt from the side hustle she was having.
A side hustle.
Yes. So that is why we are all saying it is a necessity. It is not like, oh, everybody needs it, because there are some things. We are working, we earn salary, and some people the salary is good, but how much extra can you really do with your salary? The people that can really do a lot of extra with their salary are not up to 10%. Let's be realistic.
They are very
people
few,
that can really do extra, they are not up to 10%. If you can want to do extra, apart from the normal paying bills and buying food in the house and all that, to do extra without using your credit card, they are not up to 10% that can do a lot of extra from their salary. But when you have that side hustle, it can enable you to do lots of extra and still enable you to pay off the credit card. You can still have your credit card, but you spend whatever you spend, you put it back into it. Because when you have it, you build your credit history, isn't it? Rating. So, but when there is nothing coming on the side and the salary is not even enough, there is that tendency of dipping down, deep until you find yourself like you are stuck. Yeah. So side hustle will help you to pay off all the debt, be it credit card, be it loan, be it and whatsoever, and even student loan. It will help you. It will help. We have one of our ladies that pay off our student loan. She pay off Lena, pay off our student loan from a side hustle, not from our salary. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. Wow, that's amazing, Sister Wunmi. I really like that. Because when we are wise, even with the credit cards, like Sister Wunmi has said, it will work to your advantage. Because you are having this side hustle, you are having your financial health, that credit card won't be like your lifeline. You will just use it because you want a good credit record so that you can actually do a lot of other bigger things. And also, exactly like maybe when you are shopping online, it is safer sometimes to use a credit card than your own debit card, because in case of any fraud, the credit card owners will sort it out for you rather than maybe when you use your own card. But what we are trying to say here is debts are not good. There are debts that are that are positive, like maybe you want to get a loan, for a mortgage to actually pay towards your own house instead of renting, because when you are renting, it's like you are just giving somebody money. But when you are paying for your mortgage, you are paying towards something that will be one day your own property, which is such debts are reasonable. And as long as you are responsible over that, there's nothing wrong in having such debts. But there are times when because of not having financial health, we want to live beyond our means. You find that people are living beyond their means. They want to have a flashy life, an expensive life, which is beyond their means. And that is wrong, and that is where having multiple streams of income come in. All of us is inborn in us as human beings, to want to have a good life. Because God meant us to have life in abundance. So it's in us. So when we are lacking, if you don't have discipline, sometimes we can do wrong things in order to have that sort of life which we want. But why do that? If you can do it in a clean way, in a way that you can work actually around your own time, in your own space, whatever time you want, it is so amazing, So what we are saying here is you can actually get rid of those debts. I remember there was a time, Sister Wunmi, I've testified that there was a time that I actually started having some health issues because I was just busy with work, not realizing that, things were beginning to happen in my body. We are not here to talk about, the physical health aspect of it, but you can go to our timelines and you see we share so much about the importance of health, using lifestyle changes and nutrition and so on and so forth. So to cut a long story short, I had to cut my hours, my working hours, my contract at work, by half. So that meant that I began to get very little, and in that case, like Sister Wunmi was saying, I had to use the credit card, and try by all means to say, as soon as the income comes in, it pays off the credit cards, then I continue to use the credit card for the following month. But what sort of life is that? You cannot continue doing life. So when this opportunity came on, when I had to actually, when I heard about this, business opportunity that is global, that you can do online, anytime, in your own space, I grasped it. Because, even when God says in his words to say, we are going to be eating, from the old stock, when the new is coming in, we have to do something about it. It doesn't just happen, and I had to do something about it. And today I can testify that today, indeed, I don't do that anymore, because the side hustle is able to bridge that gap, that deficit that I got by cutting my hours at work. Now I can work part-time and also have this income coming in. So as we are towards concluding now, the retirement, because sometimes people feel like, oh, I'm working and, my retirement is actually being cut from my wages. And when I retire, I'm going to be comfortable. I will be okay. Sister Emma, what would you say? Because I know to say from my research, very few people retire on a very good wage. Very, very few people. After working for so many people retire, maybe they are getting £100 per week. In a month, maybe that comes to £400. What can you do with that?
Nothing.
So would you just mention something about, how having financial health through multiple streams of income can help you actually prepare for your retirement?
It can. I mean, here in Denmark, we retire at 67, most of it, we retire 67 years old. That's when you retire.
Even here.
But yeah, but what can you do if you have been working all your life? For first, your body cannot do the things that you used to do when you were young. You are all finished when you go on retirement. And then the money that they're giving you for retirement, you cannot even afford. Most people leave their homes. They sell their homes when they retire because they cannot afford the lifestyle they had when they were still working. So they sell and move to the old people's home or whatever, where they have old people's. What kind of life is that? It's so sad. But if you have a side hustle and you have made a vision, and you've planned how your retirement is going to be like, you can easily go even on early retirement. You don't even have to wait to be 67 years old. You can go on early retirement because you have already planned or how your life will be. You have the chance to go with a side hustle. You have the chance to say, you know what, I don't feel like, I hate going to work, or I don't feel like, my body tells me that I have to stop now. You won't worry because you have saved for that money. You have saved for your retirement. You've prepared for your retirement. But if you are only depending from a 9-to-5 job, you wait until you're 67, and then you have to move. You sell your dream house. You have to move to the old people's home because you haven't planned anything. So that's why we're here today, to tell you about the side hustle and how it can help you in future, even regarding your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Emma. Exactly. I like the way that you put it. We work for so long. When you retire at 67, that is 3/4 of your life which is gone. And a few people live to be 90 or 100. Many people, maybe they'll live to be 80 or 85 by God's grace. So when you retire at 67, it means maybe you are remaining with maybe 10 years of your life remaining. Or if you are, blessed, maybe 15 years or maybe 20 years, maybe less. So the time that you are young, that time that you are spending all the days of the week working, those are the times that we are supposed to be actually enjoying your life, enjoying your family, and also doing things that are going to be working for you when you are no longer able to work. But like we said earlier on, you cannot invest from a 9-to-5 job, like maybe buy property, a number of properties, or invest in a lot of other things so that money can be working for you. You cannot do that. But when you have multiple streams of income, it empowers you to invest, in things that won't depreciate. Things like properties. Properties always appreciate, and in our business, we have people, that are actually investors abroad and at home, people that are actually making it at their young age, some of them in their 30s. They've already secured their retirement. Why? It's because they've been wise enough and bold enough and courageous enough to actually tap into the opportunities that they are having, while they are actually having that strength to do things and that empowerment to do things. So that is what we are talking about. You cannot just depend on your retirement, and I know people who are not even maybe saving for their retirement. They're just self-employed and maybe working agency, like people in my profession, But time will come when you won't have that energy that you can go for those agency shifts, maybe 7 days a week or 5 days a week. Then what happens then? So when you have things like what we are talking about, it's amazing the opportunity that is able to be opened unto you. And finally, I just want Sister Wunmi just to mention about, having a legacy. How financial health is able to help you actually have a legacy, for those of you, those who are coming behind you, like your children, your family and other people. What can you comment about that, Sister Wunmi, having, having a legacy?
Okay, thank you so much. Legacy. We said it before. For you to leave legacy for children doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire. Let's bear that in mind. So when we're talking about leaving legacies, just what are you leaving behind for them?
Exactly.
What is that thing that you're leaving behind for them that when you are gone, they will forever remember that, oh my God. One example I will give, or two examples is, okay, I came to this country, I've been to university, and I've got the student loan for the two university. Sometimes when they take out the student loan, they were meant to continue, let me start taking it from April, but they've started taking it already since last year. So when they take that money out, you'll be wondering, even when you do extra, every extra I do, they take the money out. One legacy that we can make up our mind to leave for our children is to exempt them from having that student loan.
Exactly.
Exempt them from starting a life of debt, even from their young age. Back home in Africa, there's nothing like that. You sell your clothes, you sell whatever you have to send them to school. But it's a different ball game here. And one legacy we can leave for them when we have a side hustle is to save towards their education. So when they are going, we already pay for that school fees. Thank God it's not something you have to pay at once. You can pay it instrumentally. But when there is nothing, with it's just 9-to-5 job, where will you get it? Where you, like, okay, nursing now is about 9,000 plus. Where we get the 9,000 per year? Where? But when you have something on the side that can generate extra income for you, then you can be thinking about all those things. When you're having your 9-to-5, trust me, you won't think about it. It becomes norm that's it. That's how it is. They just have to go with it. And before you know what is happening, they start their life. And when they start working at a tender age, they will start paying back debt, even at their tender age. Another legacy we can leave, I don't know where that echo is coming from. Another legacy we can leave is there are so many people, few people, not so many. When it is time for their children to move out of their house, they make sure they help them not to move to a rented apartment. So whatever the children must have seen while they're living there, I'm not being about mention Asians, they do that a lot. So as they are leaving the house, the parents already have a little they save for them as they are going, they give it to them to have to their mortgage. So they are leaving the house, they are moving to their own house, deposits for their own property. That's a legacy. Those children will never forget it. So by the time they are like 40, they've already paid off their mortgage. That will be, they will forever be grateful to you for doing that. But when you are doing 9-to-5 job, how would that come up? Where will you get that from? When the bills, the energy bill, they said is going to go up with 59%. When by the time you take that out, you take your car insurance, you take your mortgage out or your rent house, the money is gone. There is nothing left for you to think about. Somebody wants to go to school, want to save for somebody to have deposit for property. It is not there. But side hustle will help you with that. That's what I've got to say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sister Wunmi. What a nice way that we are going to end our discussion tonight. Leaving a legacy, and it doesn't just happen. You have to make effort. We have to change the narrative of our community, especially our community, our people. We have to change our legacy. Like Sister Wunmi is saying, we have to change things. Our parents, most of them were not empowered as we are. Most of them didn't have the opportunities that we have in our day. So let us, make every effort that we can change the narrative of our community, by beginning to have financial health so that we can set up our children for the future as well. And also when we are doing these side hustles and businesses that are going to help money working for us, our children, children learn by seeing. Our children will also have the same mindset. They won't just settle for a 9-to-5 job only. It will be in them to say, no, I have to do other things. I have to do business. I have to do this and that. I have to be an entrepreneur. I have to be an investor. That is also a legacy, that we can actually live with our children. And the business that we are actually sharing tonight, that we've been sharing all along, it also has an aspect where you can actually hand over the business to your child or to any member of the family when you feel like, oh, I have worked enough, I've done my side hustle enough, I have saved enough, I have invested enough, let me now sit back and have fun. You can actually hand it over to one of them to actually continue doing this. That is a legacy. But your 9-to-5 job, you cannot hand it over to your child. Once you get to that retirement age and you retire, that's it. That door is closed. But here's the door that you can actually even hand over to your children. So we are going to end here tonight.